So probably the number one question that I get asked from you guys is where I get specific supplies from, and also who is the best candle supplier to get your supplies from. And so I thought I would kind of make a video answering that for you guys today. And so yeah, let's get started. If you guys are new here, my name is Nick with the 1994 Candle Co. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'm really excited to hang out with you guys today. So first of all, I want to answer the question of who the quote-unquote best supplier is and why you should buy most of your candle supplies from them. And the reality is, I don't think that there is like one straightforward answer to that question. The reality is the best place for you to get supplies, I would say, is the place that is closest to you. And the reason for that is if you are brand new into candle making, you may not know this yet, but for any of those of us that have been doing it for more than 30 seconds, like literally shipping is insane. No matter what you're buying, the shipping is probably going to be just outrageous. And so whether it's wicks, whether you're buying whole candle jars and stuff that are super heavy, whether you're buying wax, or or even buying something as simple as labels or things like that, the reality is like shipping is just stupid high these days and probably not gonna ever come back down. So honestly, the best place for you to get most of your candle supplies is if you have a place close to you. And so I know that a lot of you are probably already thinking like, oh, there's no place close to me or whatever, but you honestly might be surprised. There are now candle suppliers nearly in every state. There's actually, I think once upon a time, the group, I think it was Jeff's group, the DIY candle making group, I believe it was that one. They had like a whole sheet of like all the different suppliers by state or whatever, and there was nearly one in almost every state or whatever. There were a few states that I think didn't have any, but nearly every state had at least one candle supplier. Now, whether they supply the things that you actually need, I don't know for sure. Obviously, it just depends on where you live. When I very first started, I Googled and looked all around for places around Omaha where I live that would have candle supplies. I was thinking like it is kind of it's a small big city, but it is still kind of considered a bigger city, and so I was really hoping that we'd have a candle supplier nearby. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything through Google or anything until someone actually mentioned in the comments that they were also from Omaha and that there actually was a supplier here, and I was over the moon thrilled about it because I was able to find their website and stuff. They were just a brand new company at the time, and so they hadn't set up like Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever, and so they do have the wax that I use and everything, which I was thrilled about because wax itself is so expensive to ship and stuff, to get shipped to you, as well as, as we know, candle jars are also very expensive. Unfortunately, they don't carry the candle jars that I use, and I had already decided like which ones I wanted to use and everything by that point. So, and I was pretty set in my ways of, wanting to use those specific jars and stuff. And they do have some jars that I am interested in, but they're a little more on the expensive side, and so I haven't really pulled the plug on those yet or anything. So I do really enjoy the jars that I use and everything, and so I don't have any plans of switching anytime soon, but who knows, in the future maybe we will. We'll see. But all that being said, I think it's really important to do some research. Maybe just do a quick Google search and type in candle supplies near wherever you live, or maybe just near my location, whatever. And even honestly, if it's like a 2 or 3 hour drive, I honestly would maybe even consider doing that. Maybe obviously stock up whenever you do go so that you don't have to, obviously make that, you don't want to be making that trip like every week or anything like that. But if you do have like a lot of supplies that you use that you can specifically get from a place that is closer to you and just make that drive rather than paying for shipping, honestly, it's probably gonna be worth it. because, you know, I mean, I know that takes kind of quite a bit of time, but it will also save you a ton on shipping probably. I mean, just depending on obviously what you can get from them and stuff like that, and what their shipping fee would be to ship to you and stuff like that. But the candle supplier here in Omaha is literally less than 10 minutes away from my apartment, which is super nice. And so I can just go and pick it up basically whenever I want, which I personally love. So I would just do a Google search, or if you happen to know any other candle makers in your area or anything like that, just, you know, maybe reach out to them and ask if, you know, if they know of any suppliers that are nearby or things like that. And even if you can't find somewhere that you can drive to, I would still try and find one that is fairly close to you, because obviously, like, the further away that something is from you, the more it's going to cost to ship it, obviously. And so even if it's not necessarily like a drivable distance, or where it doesn't make sense to go and drive to it instead of just having it shipped or whatever, I would still encourage you to look for a place nearby. That way you can get, obviously, items shipped from them and stuff, and it'll hopefully still be cheaper than getting it from somewhere else that might be farther away. But I think it goes without being said that you kind of have to do your research and look around at different suppliers and just see kind of where you can get the best cost for whatever it is that you're wanting to get shipped. So like, for instance, there are definitely some places who sell my wax, the wax that I use, a little bit cheaper than where I get it from, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or whatever, that's here in Omaha. But after shipping and stuff, I actually still save more getting it through them and everything. And so it's really important to add and factor in that shipping into your cost of goods, because if you don't, like, that's gonna eat up your profits real fast, because shipping, like I said before, it is insane, especially if you haven't really, like, gotten too far into this yet or whatever, and you're kind of maybe just starting out and stuff like that. I'm just gonna tell you, shipping is kind of a nightmare right now. Like, I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I don't want you to, like, panic or freak out. It's not like horrible end of the world or anything like that, but it is a little bit insane sometimes, just depending on where you're getting stuff from, what you're getting and stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of stuff with candles is kind of heavier. You know, the jars or vessels that you're gonna use are probably gonna be quite a bit heavier, as well as the wax. You know, generally you're getting it in like 10 to maybe even 40, 50 plus pounds or whatever at a time. And so it's just gonna be, you know, heavier stuff to ship. And so unfortunately, heavier generally means that it's gonna cost more to ship it and everything. Okay, and now I'm going to be sharing with you guys all the places that I get my supplies from and what I get from them and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be kind of going through it by supplier. So first up, where I get my jars from, these are from California Candle Supply, all the way out in California. I truly wish that the place that is here in Omaha carried these jars, because, or at least something similar to them, because they're, like I said before, super expensive to ship. It literally costs like a few, I think it's like over $100 every time I get them, every time I order them and have them shipped to me or whatever. Obviously they're coming from California, so it is obviously a good drive away from where I'm at. But yeah, it is, to me, it's kind of worth it for these jars. These jars, I really haven't found a whole lot else that would be, you know, more affordable or whatever. I love the look of them. I love the, you know, like how big they are and everything. I love that I can double wick them for some extra hot throw in there and everything. You know, I really truly love these jars. And I knew from the beginning, like when I started making candles, that I kind of wanted like a matte black option, just because that is kind of just my kind of vibe, I guess, or whatever. I just really love kind of the contrast of black and white and stuff like that, and so I knew pretty much from the beginning that I wanted to have a black vessel. And I tried some from other places and I just didn't really love them as much as these, and so and especially with the wood lid, I think it just kind of makes each and every Kindle unique, because these are like actually real wood lids and everything, and so no lid obviously is the same as the others, and so I feel like it just kind of makes my candles a little bit more unique and stuff, and so that was why I went with these. I do occasionally get some of my wicks from California Candle Supply as well. I don't get them that often anymore, just because I recently I was using Eco wicks, and I recently switched to HTP wicks, and so I don't get them quite as often anymore, but I do occasionally. Sometimes if I'm ordering jars or whatever, I'll just throw some wicks in there as well, because I've tested them and make sure that they, you know, work and everything like that still, and everything. But I don't as often anymore, like I said, but I do occasionally still get wicks from them and stuff. I feel like it's really important, like I said before, to really, you know, figure out which ways you're gonna be able to save the most on shipping and everything. And so like I try to buy as much in bulk as I can. I'm not, you know, raking in the dough or anything like that, so I can't like afford, I wish I could afford to buy like full pallets and stuff, because you just save so much money on shipping and everything. But obviously those cost like thousands of dollars generally, and so we're just not there yet, you know. And also I'm doing this out of my apartment, so we would have like nowhere to put all of that stuff. But sometimes I like to look and see, you know, if they have cheaper wicks or whatever than where I normally get them from, and if it's not going to raise the cost of shipping any more than it already is. If I add a bag or two in, then I'll go ahead and add a couple bags of wicks or whatever, and you know, things like that. Just kind of playing around with what I can add in and not add, you know, very much or anything at all sometimes to shipping and stuff, because like once it hits a certain point, it kind of, you know, starts slowing down on what you can, you know, add in and stuff, and not, hopefully it won't jump to the next tier of like whatever the cost of shipping is and stuff like that. But a lot of the times you can kind of squeeze in a few smaller things, like some bags of wicks or a few like 1 ounce fragrance oils or things like that. And then I do get one fragrance from them. It's just the tobacco and vanilla. It is the best tobacco scent I have ever smelled, honestly. I'm usually not like a huge fan of that scent or whatever, but the tobacco and vanilla from California Candle Supply is honestly such a good scent. And so I really like that one, and it's the best one I found. It is a bit expensive, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a little more expensive, so I do try to, that's another thing I try to do, is like get, you know, a few pounds of it at a time. That way I'm not having to, you know, get it shipped and stuff like that on its own or anything like that. And so yeah, it is a good scent, but it is a little pricey, not gonna lie. Before we get to the next part of this video, it would mean so much to me if you would give this video a thumbs up if you are finding some value in it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so that we can keep hanging out. And then next up, since we talked about my jars, I was going to talk about where I get my tins from, because they actually do not come from California Candle Supply. I get these tins either from dreamvessels.com, or I get them through Amazon. The other place is called Hearts and Crafts through Amazon. But lately, Hearts and Crafts did just raise their prices, and so I'm definitely going to be looking at Dream Vessels again to see which one is more cost effective, because for a long time it was a little bit cheaper to get them through Hearts and Crafts, but they just raised their prices quite a bit, honestly, and so I don't know if it's still cheaper to get it through them or possibly through Dream Vessels, and so I need to look and see. But I've gotten them from both before, and so I know that they are the same exact tins, same exact size, everything is the same exact thing or whatever. There are tins, other tins that kind of look like this one. It's kind of got this like weird, I don't even know, like I don't know what you call that, but just kind of how it like dips down here or whatever. There are other tins that look like this on Amazon and stuff, but most of them, at least the ones that I have ordered, they are not the same size as these, even though they say they're 8 ounces. This is 8 ounces, and those I'm pretty sure are not 8 ounces because yeah, they're definitely a different size than these. They could potentially maybe just be a little bit taller or something, I don't know, but either way, yeah, they definitely were not the same as these or the same exact as these, and so I purposely don't order those just because I want them to be the same. To be honest, I get a lot of stuff from Amazon, and so I might touch on a few things, but I'm not going to necessarily go through the whole list of things that I get from Amazon just because I feel like I've talked about it a lot in previous videos and stuff. So, but the full list of things that I get from Amazon is always linked down below. They are affiliate links, and so if you do happen to buy any of those things, or even if you click on those and you end up like checking out through them, even if you don't add any of those things to your cart, I do get a small commission, and it does really help my channel grow. At the time of filming this video, I'm not monetized or anything, and so I do, you know, the only thing that I make any amount of money from is through my affiliate links, and so it does really mean a whole lot to me whenever you guys purchase through those. It does help my channel continue to grow and things like that, and so yeah, it just really means a lot to me. Next up, I wanted to talk about probably my most asked question, and that is where I get my labels from. I get my labels through online labels. I do just get the blank sheets, and then I design them in Canva and print them out myself. I have definitely thought about having them print them out for me just because, to be honest, I don't know why printing out labels is like the most annoying thing in the world to me. I don't know why. It's really not that big of a deal, and it doesn't even take that long, but like every time I'm just like, ugh. It's like the one thing that I like procrastinate on so much. I really hate printing out the labels. Again, I don't really know why. It's really not that taxing of a thing to do or whatever, but it's like the one thing that I hate doing the most probably in this business. But honestly, like if that's, you know, the worst of it, then it's really not that bad. But like I said, all of my labels, from what you see on my wax melts to my candles, to like what I put on bags and stuff like that, to even my little thank you stickers, all that stuff, all of those came through online labels, and like I said, I just designed them myself in Canva and print them out. And so yeah, I've really not had any issues with online labels. I think at the beginning I maybe had some alignment issues, but honestly it was more user error, I think, or whatever, and we ended up getting it figured out pretty quickly, and since then I've not had any issues with them. And so honestly, if you ever use them, if you ever have any issues, because I do get some people asking me about how to fix issues, and I'm not the person to ask. I would reach out to online labels, and they can definitely help you with things like that or whatever. But yeah, I have not really had any issues with them. They've been great for me, and so highly recommend. And then next up is my room spray bottles. I get these from premiumvials.com. I'll leave a link to them down below because they kind of get, I don't know, they kind of get lost in the website. Their website has so many things on it that, like, I don't know, for some reason these are kind of hard to find sometimes, even if you type in like exactly what it is or whatever. It's still kind of hard to find them, and so I will definitely leave a link down below. Hopefully I can find them this time and everything, and just so you guys can see where they're at and stuff. But yeah, I get these through premiumvials.com. That's just the black, matte black bottle. The label, obviously, like I said, comes from online labels, and all the other ingredients we'll talk about here in a little bit. If you guys didn't notice, I'm kind of getting through all of my one-off supplies or whatever that are kind of like bigger things, and then I'll kind of go through each supplier or whatever and kind of tell you what or at least like an overview of what I get from those suppliers. And then I have been getting quite a few questions about these jars and where I get them. These are from Makesy. They are expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you, they are expensive. I I bought them back like last year when they were having like a really big sale on them. And so they literally, with the lid and the jar, it came out to like super dirt cheap. Like it was like $1 something per jar. I can't remember. These were like on crazy sale, and yeah, I think it was I think they kind of do more sales towards the end of the year to kind of clear out inventory and stuff like that, and you know, taxes, all that stuff. And so yeah, so that's a tip. If you guys want to do like any kind of special edition, or you want to, you know, test out new jars, or maybe you're just need to restock the jars that you have, a lot of places, not everywhere, but a lot of places will do bigger sales towards the end of the year, and so that is a really good time to stock up and everything. They do have lots of other colors besides this orange or whatever. They have tons and tons of colors. I also had like a lighter like brown one. There was like a khaki colored one. I also have these peach colored ones that I'm probably going to be using next spring and summer. I planned on using them this past spring and summer, but then things just kind of got away from me. We had way too many events going on, and all of that, and so yeah, they just didn't quite get used. But it's all right. It's not like jars go bad, so you know. I also have these really cool iridescent jars. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it's like really cool iridescent colors. I only have one of these. This was just kind of like a tester one, and I really liked it, so I kept it for myself. They also have these translucent wine ones. That's the name of them, translucent wine. So these are pretty cool. These may or may not be coming out in my collection for like a special Christmas edition, you know? I don't know. Who knows? Who's to say? These are also the matte white aura vessels from Makesy. I love like how just like pure white these are. I know that sounds silly because they're literally, obviously they're white, but I don't know, there's something about them that like they almost seem whiter than most vessels. And so yeah, I am really thinking about doing something with these as well, just because you know, I have the whole white black aesthetic thing going on, but I'm thinking about doing something a little different for these. I got these gold lids that are like, you can like see, they're like mirrors almost or whatever. But I feel like they go super well with this white jar. And so I don't know, I am gonna play around with something like that or whatever, I think. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I've had these for a little bit now, honestly, and I haven't done anything with them. So I don't know, we'll see. I hope to do something with them soon, but I don't know. Isn't that just kind of the nature of candle making? We all buy these supplies and then we're like, well, I have 800,000 other things I need to get done, and so we just kind of, you know, they just kind of sit there for a while until we finally get to them. I don't know if any of you are like that, but that is definitely how I am. So as you guys saw, I have a lot of Makesy jars. Again, they are kind of expensive, but if you can get them on sale, they're definitely worth it. And then next up, this place is where I get all of my printed products from. So like my business cards, as well as like my packaging tape and stuff like that. Sorry, I think it's upside down. But yeah, my packaging tape. I've also gotten banners from them and different signs for like, just for, you know, like pop-up events or markets and things like that. But that is through, I get all that stuff through Vistaprint.com. I honestly have been working with Vistaprint for years now because I use them also in my full-time day job a lot as well. So we get lots of things, you know, printed and stuff, and so we use them quite a bit. And so I've never really had any major issues or things, you know, if I did have an issue or whatever, they've always fixed it and stuff. So they've always been pretty high quality stuff, and it's fairly affordable. They have lots of sales and stuff like that, so definitely look out for those. But yeah, I really enjoy them. They've got pretty good quality products and stuff, and I've never really had any major issues with them. Here, I'm just gonna kind of go through my list of suppliers just because the rest of the stuff that I generally get like a lot of things or several things at one supplier, and so it doesn't really make sense to go through, you know, product by product. So first up, the supplier that is here in Omaha that I've talked about a few times. I get my wax from them, mostly wax, and occasionally I do get wicks from them. I don't always love the coating that comes on their wicks or whatever. It kind of, I don't know, it just kind of flakes off weirdly sometimes, like the wax coating or whatever on their wicks. And so, yeah, I don't always get wicks from them, but I do sometimes when, you know, if I'm in a pinch or anything like that, or, you know, other places don't have them, or they're having a sale or, you know, something like that or whatever, I will usually get them from them. But a lot of the times I get them from other places. But I do really enjoy getting wax from them, and that is through CJ Candle Supply. Again, I'll leave a link down in the description box below. But they are here in Omaha. They are a smaller business, and so, you know, if you want to help support another small business with your small business, then they'd be a great one to buy stuff from. Like I said, I do mostly just get my wax, which is 6006 through them, but they do have tons of other waxes. They even have like Soy 10, and I believe they have Cocoa 83. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, and then they have like 464. They have all kinds of different waxes, and I think, I mean, I don't know for sure, but even if you don't live here in Omaha, they do ship and everything, and I feel like their shipping is maybe a little bit cheaper than some other places. So you might want to check it out. I don't know exactly, like I said, you know, it depends on where you live and how much you're getting and all that stuff or whatever, but they also have a lot of really nice candle vessels and stuff, so I've definitely been tempted to get some from them as well, just because they have some really nice ones. So if you want to check them out, cjcandlesupply.com. And the next supplier where I get probably, I would say 80% of my fragrances from, I get from Candle Science. So I'm not gonna go through every single fragrance I get from them, just because that's like a whole other video, I feel like. But yeah, Candle Science, they have been great, especially with fragrances. They also have tons of jars, tons of basically anything you could want to do with candle making, they probably have it. But yeah, I do get probably, I would say close to maybe 80 or more % of my fragrances from them that I use in all my different collections and stuff. They have really high quality fragrance oils. They're really clean scents and stuff, and so I just really love using their fragrance oils. Especially, I feel like I'm hardly ever let down by their fragrances in terms of like performance and things like that. I don't always love every fragrance that they have, but that's okay. Obviously, you're not gonna love every fragrance probably from anywhere. So, but yeah, so Candle Science definitely is great for fragrances. I don't get wicks from them anymore. They were another one that I was getting the Eco Wicks from when I was using those. Unfortunately, they do not have HTP wicks. They stopped selling them like several years ago, and so I don't know if they will ever get them back or not, but unfortunately they don't have those. I would probably get them from them if they did have them though, because I really like the wax coating that comes on most of their wicks and stuff. It's a lot more like, it seems a lot stronger, like the wick seems more rigid and stuff, like it just, you know, it doesn't bend or break apart easily or anything like that, and so I really like the wax coating that they use on their wicks. So unfortunately though, they don't carry the wicks that I currently use, so I used to get wicks from them, but not anymore. After Candle Science, the next place that I get fragrances from is the Flaming Candle. That probably, like, I don't know, I know I said like 80% from Candle Science, but recently I have been getting more from the Flaming Candle and one other place that I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, the Flaming Candle was definitely the second place that I was like getting most of my fragrances from for quite a while, and I still am getting quite a few from them. I've been kind of like just switching back and forth between a few different suppliers, just trying out some new fragrances and stuff, but I don't know that I've ever been disappointed by a Flaming Candle fragrance. Like, almost every single one has been pretty strong, like good hot throw, good cold throw, all that stuff. I haven't tested every fragrance that they have or anything like that, but I have tested, I would say, a good majority of them. I have tested quite a few from them, or I have them here somewhere and they need to be tested. But yeah, I have tested quite a few scents from them, and I've never really had one, I don't think, that I thought like did poorly as far as like, you know, the throw and things like that. There's been one or two that I just didn't personally like. Their lemon pound cake, for instance, I remember it kind of smelled like a weird latex balloon to me. Don't know why, no idea why that's what it smelled like to me, but that's the scent that I got. And so I just couldn't in good conscience sell that to my customers because I was afraid that that's what they were gonna smell too. But that's really the only scent that I've ever smelled from them that I was like, I don't think I can sell this or whatever. And again, that's more personal preference. There are a lot of good reviews on that scent, so hopefully other people don't smell that as well. I'm pretty sure that's not what they were going for. But specifically fall scents, I do get quite a few of my fall scents from them and stuff. They have some really good fall scents that at the time, at least, when I was first starting, I couldn't find at other places. And so, yeah, they definitely have some really good, unique fall scents. Maybe I'll talk about that, or, you know, just where I get all my specific fragrance oils and stuff or whatever in another video in the future. But yeah, that would be probably the second best place to get fragrance oils. And then, as you guys know, I'm not going to go into great detail with this one because I've done a few different videos where I've talked about this, but I do use replica surfaces, and I just did a whole video about setting up the replica studio and stuff like that. So if you guys want to watch that one, I'll leave it at the end of this video. But they have been really great for elevating my product photography and stuff like that. And so if you're interested in that, just check out that video. But if you already know what they are and everything, just a reminder that you can use my code, which is photos12, at the link below, and you'll get 12% off your purchase. One of my cats just reminded me that I almost forgot a supplier. One of my cats right now, Olive, she is currently climbing over some boxes and stuff. So I'm sorry if you hear her. But she reminded me that I didn't talk about where I get all of my packing supplies and stuff. So most of my packaging supplies, like my boxes, my gift boxes that I use to put my candles in, and things like that, I get all of that stuff either through Uline or from Midwest Box Company. So Midwest Box Company is just a local box place where you can get boxes and stuff like that here in Omaha. And so I really only get stuff from them like when I need to go pick it up like right away or things like that. And to be honest, Uline shipping is ridiculous. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm really honest here if you guys don't know. People sometimes have some ridiculous prices on things and I'm like, that's ridiculous, but I need it. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, Uline is one of those places, unfortunately, their shipping is ridiculous. And I'm pretty sure they have a space here in Omaha, but unfortunately, like, you can't go pick up anything there. I've called and asked, and yeah, it's super annoying because I'm like, you're literally right down the street from me and you're charging me $50+ to ship some boxes. So yeah, it's not my favorite thing, but a lot of the times I will get some boxes and stuff from, like I said, Midwest Box Company. They are here in Omaha again though. So, but they do ship and everything, so they might be a cheaper shipping option for you than Uline. You'll just have to kind of look around and see, you know, what the best pricing option is for you. And then I think we only have 2 more suppliers that I can think of. Wholesale Supplies Plus, I don't get very much from them. I've mostly just gotten my Polysorbate 20 and my preservative from them, which I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Optifin Plus or something like that. But I use both of those to make room sprays, as well as I used, I think, the preservative for my foaming hand soaps or whatever. I did a video just like not too long ago about foaming hand soaps or whatever, and so I did use the preservative for that. But those are really the only things I've gotten from them from what I can remember. They also sell like lots of other candle supplies though and stuff like that as well. The last place, this place has quickly become probably it's becoming more, I should say, of a more frequent supplier that I use, and that is Midwest Fragrance Company. I really have started to enjoy a lot of their fragrances. They have lots of unique fragrances that you can't find at other places, which is awesome in and of itself, just because I really love when I can find like a unique fragrance that isn't at, you know, 50 other suppliers and stuff. And a lot of their unique scents seem to work really well with my wax. I will say the first couple of times that I tried them, I just had really mixed results with some of their fragrances. Some of them just did not work super well with 6006. If I'm being real, I can't remember off the top of my head which ones specifically were a little bit lighter or whatever, but there were just some that unfortunately were fairly light with 6006, no matter what temperatures and what wicks and stuff like that I tried. I just couldn't really get a great, you know, hot throw from them, and stuff like that. And so yeah, some of them kind of were a little bit off or whatever, but lately I've been having much better results with a lot of their oils and stuff, and some of my best sellers have actually been coming from them. Like for instance, roasted honey butter is from them or whatever. That is where I got the special edition for one of my candles this fall and stuff, and a lot of people really loved that scent, and it sold out like super fast. So yeah, that's definitely one. Honey spice pear is another one you guys have heard me talk about. Yeah, they have a lot of really good scents there, and so that has become one recently that I have started buying from more often. The nice thing about them as well is that they have started carrying clamshells, which I found I used to get from Amazon, but I am now getting through them because it saved me, I think it was like 30 or 40 cents almost per clamshell or whatever that I was saving. So I was able to, you know, drop my cost of goods down a little bit so I could make a little extra on my wax melts and stuff, which is always really nice to have. So they definitely have really good pricing on their wax melt cases and stuff like that. And so I believe it's free shipping if you get a full case, which is like, I think it's like 700 of these or something like that, which I was at the point where I was like, you know what, we need to buy that many anyway because I'm constantly buying more wax melt clamshells and stuff, so it just kind of worked out. I also have these little 1 ounce clamshells that I use for my sample packs, or when I'm sending like free samples and stuff like that to customers when they place an order. I use these a lot of the time just because they are really great, and they have really good pricing on those as well. I think Midwest also just recently came out with like a body mist based or something like that. I definitely want to check that out because I've been wanting to make like cologne or things like that for a long time, and so that might be another thing that I need to check out soon. And they also have a room and linen spray base from what I remember. So yeah, they are definitely up in their game. They are becoming much more than just a fragrance supplier, so if you haven't checked them out in a while, I highly recommend giving them another shot. But as far as I can remember, that is most, if not all, of my suppliers. If there's anything that I forgot or that you guys have been wanting to ask me for a while about supplies or where I get stuff from, or anything like that, don't be afraid to ask in the comments below. I would love to answer that for you. I probably just forgot about it, so I'm not like trying to hide anything or anything like that. I just genuinely forget sometimes. So, but I think with that, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you guys would like to continue hanging out, there's going to be some other videos that pop up on the screen, and I will see you there.